Greetings ladies and gents, welcome back to the Craft Hammer. I'm your host Stefan, and in today's video, same as before, we're going to do some mini tutorials for you, the new beginner who just needs some helping hands to figure out some of the basics for the hobby. In today's video, we're going to be talking about decals. Now, what exactly are these? It looks like a piece of paper with a lot of fancy designs, and what do they look like on the model itself? We'll use this model here as an example. Let me just slightly move the light here. As you can see on the two little shields here, there is some nice fancy designs which would have definitely been difficult if I was to do that manually, making sure that I get all those details. And of course, on the shoulder pad itself, we have the chapter symbol, nicely designed with crisp lines. The basic idea is that you want some nice crisp logos somewhere on your model, whether it be a tank or an actual figure, so that you can have a nice little logo showing up. There are of course more fancier versions than these. I have seen some where you have a whole banner design if you want to put it on your flag. But for us, we are going to be using our good old trusty model here. We're going to put a symbol of, I believe it's going to be fire support on this shoulder pad, and then we're going to put the chapter logo on this one, and then some sort of small design on the shield. Now, it's not too difficult, and of course you can get a bit more fancy with this. There is a thing I believe called micro sol and micro sal, two little tubs of liquid which we haven't used before here, but they're not necessary, so don't worry, you don't have to go and buy these out. What they do is, one of them you put where you're going to put the decal itself, and that helps clean the surface. Then you put your decal, and then you put the other micro sal or sol, whichever one it is, and it helps melt the clear film which is on top of the actual decal, so that it helps make it seem more seamless as it goes on the actual model. Of course, that isn't quite necessary. If you want to get all fancy, by all means go ahead, but for us what we're going to be doing is we're going to be looking at, let me see if I can spot it here, we're going to put the fire support on the shoulder pad. You do need yourself a little scalpel, and you're going to be cutting out the actual shape of the design here, and make sure you get as close as possible to the actual design so that you have as little extra bit that you're going to be putting on the model as possible. And what we're going to do is we're going to quickly cut out a few things that we're going to be getting ready for our model. Now, we've cut out the chapter symbol here and the tiny shield here, and our fire support symbol has already gone in the water. Hopefully I'm able to do this on camera itself, but what we normally need is a tiny bit of water. Put your decal facing upwards on the water itself. It should float on top. Don't push it down, that's not necessary. And what we need to do is just give it a few seconds so that it does its thing, starts to separate from the actual piece of paper on the bottom, and hopefully I can do it on the camera here now. Please don't mess up while I'm trying to do it on the camera. And then we're just gonna place it on top like this. And once it's here, we're gonna try and drag the actual design while getting rid of the paper underneath. Hopefully that can just fall away. And then we just need to quickly push the actual logo design of the fire support around, get it roughly in the middle. Nope, I kind of put it off center now, but roughly you just want to make sure you put it in the center and then just let it dry. Now, if you put a tiny bit too much water and it's a bit kind of flooded, let's say in that area, what you can do is just get a tissue and just kind of slightly dab at the very edges where the water is, and it'll help drag away some of that excess water. Now, what we're gonna do, we're just gonna put, same thing, the shield logo here, and then of course, we're gonna put the chapter logo here. So give me 2 seconds and let me get that done. I do think that ended up pretty nicely in the center. So give me 2 seconds and let me do the other symbols. And we've finished putting on the decals. We have the chapter logo here, tiny bit shiny. So as I said earlier, I believe it was micro sol or sal, whichever one. That one, it helps dissolve the film on top, which can get rid of some of the shiny aspects that we have here. But at the same time, our varnish that we will be looking at next, that will also help get rid of some of the shininess when it comes to decals, but it won't appear for every single one of them. For example, we do have the shield here, which looks fairly decent. Hopefully the camera can lock in there. And of course, we've got our fire support symbol here. For those of you who are new to the hobby and you're starting off, there's some things you need to know. If you are looking to make a model really pop out, decals are the way to go. Yes, in our previous video we talked about highlights. I do see a lot more new beginners try and go down the route of doing edge highlights, which requires more skill and increasing your motor skill when it comes to painting so that you can get an effective model. It takes a long time to learn edge highlighting, while decals is super quick and super easy, yet the result is obviously very high when it comes to getting some wonderful designs on your model. So if you are a new beginner, don't be afraid of decals, because maybe you've seen them and they seem like a very strange concept and a bit unusual. They are much easier than edge highlights. They are quicker to learn. They don't require as difficult and intricate motor skills as edge highlighting can. So don't be afraid of them. Get to grips with them. Fairly easy. Scalpel, bit of water, cut it out as close as possible to the edges. Make sure the surface that you're putting them on is clean. Put it on after they've been soaking up a few seconds in the water. Dab away any of the excess water with a tissue and you are done. The varnish that we will be using next will go on top of it and it'll help protect the decal, and you get some wonderful designs like this model where he has those two little shields and of course his chapter symbol. So highly recommend that you learn to use decals. Our next video will be looking at varnish, I believe, so make sure to stay tuned for that. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to like this video, really helps us out. Drop your comments down below and stay tuned for the next video. So until next time, take care folks.